Hey everybody, Happy New Year's. So this New Year started off pretty good for me. I actually kind of increased my wardrobe, all thanks to a woman that I've been seeing quite often. She's been taking care of me in other ways that I normally don't take care of myself, I guess, because I don't have the time or whatever. And so that would be one of them, was like fashion or something. So I think it looks pretty good. She got me this jacket and I'm wearing it with this thing, and I just kind of like put it down a little bit, like when I socialize or whatever. So I also went on a grocery haul at Sprouts for the first time in a while. So I got a few things, but yeah, right now I'm cooking I'm gonna cook some bacon and eggs, probably about 2 or 3 eggs with some beef, ground beef that I got actually about maybe a week ago, but I've been storing that in the fridge or freezer. And I'm gonna get some arugula with it and coconut oil. Again, I'm gonna use coconut oil. I finally decided to just shell out the money for coconut oil, because the longest time I was gonna get it to cook with, because it was either that or you can use beef tallow, and beef tallow is good, but I wanted to switch it up a bit, so I got that, and so it's gonna be pretty good. I'm about to make it right now. I haven't actually bought bacon to cook for a while, so that's gonna be a bit of a change of pace. And then also I wanted to explain that I got into a car accident, unfortunately, on the 1st of January, 2 days ago. And I had to, well, actually 3 days ago now, I had to take care of that, make sure that everything has been crossed. All the T's are crossed, the I's are dotted, that kind of thing, that expression. And it was somewhat simple, but it was also nerve-wracking because there were some people that were injured. So I have AAA, and they're really good insurance. So they know what to say, they know how to get the correct information and stuff like that, and it wasn't my fault. I turned on a protected green light, if you know what that means. So it's like an arrow. So when the light turns green, it's a green arrow. Pretty much everything else is supposed to be red. So it was pretty clear that the people going the other way, and because it was T-boned. So the collision was a T-boned incident, and I turned left, and then it was clear that they were actually speeding, although you can't really prove that. And then they twisted 180 degrees, and it was pretty wild. They were kind of like, they went out of their car and say, well, I'm gonna beat that guy's ass and all this stuff. And pretty soon, I guess when they saw me, they kind of went quiet. I'm not sure why. Maybe my presence gives a don't mess with this guy vibe now, which I wouldn't be surprised, because like when I just kind of look stoic, I think people just kind of think like, oh, don't mess with that guy, Even though when I start talking, I start sounding like I'm 5 years old again, I guess, sometimes. But yeah, there's that. And so I got a rental, which is going to be a rental car, which is covered there by the insurance. And I have to get a police report. I got the police report number, but it takes them 21 days to get it, the insurance people. So I'm going to try to get that sooner. But however, the issue is that they're taking their time to generate that. I was kind of in the heat of the moment, so when I told the officer my point of view, I might have left out details, important details, and included not so important details. Like I did tell them that after I told them that I saw that it was green, I said it's still possible that it was red, because I was in the heat of it. I wasn't like, I don't have a dash cam. There's no way for me to prove it. So why? And so when I saw that the people were hurt, I felt bad. So I just thought, well, maybe it is kind of my fault, but I don't think it is, because I don't think I'd be that stupid. I mean, I always pay attention to what I'm doing, and I've never had an incident like this. So there's never even been anything close to it. Like, nobody's ever said, hey, watch your watch your drive in there, or I've never gotten pulled over because I ran a red light or whatever. So it's like very unlikely that that actually were to happen, especially because I wasn't drinking or anything. I did drink a little bit the day before, which I'll get to because it's the first time I drank in 5 months or so. That was interesting. Because normally it's better to be sober and stuff like that. But then when I drank, it felt like it felt like I had more mood swings more than I usually would. And it's kind of interesting because once I got off of the alcohol high, I guess you could say, not this was before the accident, of course. That was New Year's Eve. Once I got off the alcohol high, in a sense, it felt like a cleanse, a mental cleanse. Like, I don't know. I'm not saying that having alcohol is good, but I want to say that, at least for me, maybe it's because I'm just addicted to it unconsciously. But I felt like after drinking, I actually felt like a sense of relief, like the day before. Even though it was a small hangover, I did have a feeling of a sense of relief that I could never experience anywhere else. It's almost like my mind resetted itself to where now I don't have to worry. I feel like I don't have to worry about certain things. Like, I don't know how to describe it, because like the other than that, I want to try to elaborate on that, because I always screw up and just explain it in such a simple way without like kind of going deeper into it. So basically, when I drank, I was just, basically, we were eating, the girl and I were eating some steak and stuff like that, and we were just like kind of chatting and eating some cheese, some prosciutto and all that. It was like a charcuterie board kind of thing. So it was just wine. We started off with wine, and that's what it was. So when I drank, it was like I had this like good, like kind of like a relaxing feeling without having to. It was a relaxing feeling without having to like feel. I want to say it was like a relaxing feeling without it going down right away. So, but when I describe down, I mean that there are other times like maybe 5 minutes later where I start to feel like kind of depressed about something, but then somehow like another 5 minutes would go by and then I would start to feel good about something else. So I had extreme mood swings as I was having it, but overall it was positive. Like, you can't deny that. And so I just wanted to note that, because I forgot how alcohol felt like to drink. But see, here's the thing about alcohol too, is that at the same time, when I was going through those mood swings, if I didn't have that alcohol, what I would experience just in a normal way is pretty much like just the same mood, but low. This just lower than the lows of the highs and lows of drinking. So it's kind of interesting, because then normally I would just kind of feel neutral, which is what you're supposed to feel if you're a healthy human being, just, the healthy release of serotonin or whatever. So, but basically, I think that what happens is my mind is kind of programmed to release serotonin in such a way that is correlated with getting stuff done. So in order for me to get that same high, I guess you could say, from an alcohol or whatever, without necessarily earning it, because that's what happens in your brain. I guess something weird happens. But I'm not 100% sure about what happens, but this is what I've noticed in myself. So when I don't drink, it seems like in order for me to get those same highs, I have to get a lot done. Like, I have to actually get stuff done. And so I'm programmed to do that. So if I don't get anything done, I just don't feel that serotonin release that much, or whatever you call it. So it's like, so I would say that's pretty much what was happening. So so kind of like alcohol kind of bypasses all those natural systems, I guess, because basically, my opinion is that your brain is trying to adjust itself to do things a certain way. So in the environment, That's my contention, but I know there's still many arguments to be made about stuff I say. But this is kind of like, I think that's what happened. I think that's what happens like when I drink, and maybe with other people too. Like it kind of gives them it tricks their mind into thinking that they're being rewarded from the environment, but in reality they're just being rewarded from their own brain. It's from the substance. But see, what I'm saying is that the environmental thing for me, because of all the renovation stuff, was actually not healthy, because it doesn't make sense for somebody to have to do all that themselves. Like it would only make sense for you to have many people experiencing those dopamine hits or whatever from getting stuff done in the environment. So I think it was, in a weird, odd way, it was actually pretty good and healthy for me to have a drink. And I know it sounds like I'm justifying it, but from that point of view, it was actually good for me, because now I could feel good for pretty much for a self-esteem reason. It's like just feel good about being there. So basically it reprogrammed my brain so that I release serotonin. This is my contention, to release serotonin from basic like interactions or thoughts I have, instead of, because I'm not drunk right now or whatever, but I feel better. I feel like more of a high than I would before I drank the alcohol, in a sense. It's kind of weird. So I think I understand why people drink in a practical sense. Again, I could just be justifying it. But yeah, I think what happens is, like, if you try to do too much and you try to program your brain to like catch the dopamine hits only when you get those things done, I think you're gonna feel quite depressed. And I think it makes sense. Why you would want to turn to alcohol in that case. I don't know. Well, yeah. Again, there's so many things to discuss from what I always say. So don't take it seriously or literally. It's just thoughts I have. Sorry. But anyway, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and cook this. So yeah, I probably will post it a little bit. I just wanted to show it. But then yeah, I socialized quite more than I would have in the last 6 months, because finally I can square away, for the most part, what I did for all the renovations. I just have to paint a few patches at this point, and even then, a future tenant probably wouldn't care, and I just have to move stuff to the new storage place that I'm paying $90 a month for. So yeah, it's kind of cool. So it's kind of a good thing, I think, that I'm experiencing this now, because I think for a while I would go to my, like, without those dopamine hits, I would like go to my computer and it would take me forever to do one thing, and I wouldn't be able to move forward with anything. I would get too distracted by the fact, like, by other things that are big, and I couldn't really focus on, like, just stupid small stuff. So it's hard to explain what those things are without explaining everything about it. Like, for example, for me, I'm trying to get a PE license in every single state, pretty much, that we service. And it's pretty simple. You just got to go through everything, but they have you jump through so many hoops that I kind of get bored. So what happens is, like, I don't have to do that for my job. Like, I don't have to do that as part of my job, but I tend to get bored, like, halfway through, and I just think, like, this shit's not worth it. Because and it just seems like I'm a kid who has ADD or something. But see, what's happening is that it's not that I don't think it's worth it, but what happens is that I start to get tired, or I start to, like, get sidetracked by other things that are important, that seem important and stuff like that. But the other reason why it happens is because of those dopamine hits. They don't come to me like they were, like, in previous years. Like, for example, when I was a lot heavier and I was more used to being on the computer, just and separating my environment from my head, and drinking quite often, actually. I program my mind to do things kind of on the computer more like sequentially and with more like rigor, I guess, and more reinforcement, so that I can actually get whatever I gotta to get done. But now it's like things don't get done because like I'll halt halfway through, and then there's like these hoops that you have to go through, and I'm like, I'm done with this. Like I'm thinking of something else now. Something else is important, so I'm just gonna wait and then get back to it or something. And then turns out then I have to redo everything else, and it's just like, well, you know, I mean that's just the PE stuff. But when it comes to other things, obviously I take care of that. But let's say, for example, like this actually works against me because I wanted to sell a lot more stuff on eBay than I did. So I have some stuff that I wanted to sell on eBay, and I think last year I started, or was it 2 years ago, I started to post it, and everything was going good. Like I was just like banging it out one after another, and I was selling. But I stopped posting because of that whole dopamine thing. Like it just, I mean, not only is it the time thing, obviously I just told you, right? But it was also this whole dopamine thing. So you don't get that kind of roll going. So you might start and then you stop, and then, basically it becomes something else takes over. It's quite difficult to stay on track and just get it done because other things become important. Like you got to deal with the trust, or you got to do, for my job, or I don't know. I want to clean. I see that there's some dirtiness in the bathroom, and I got to clean that. And the only way my brain's gonna release that dopamine is if I do those things, which would end up taking way more time than something on a computer. You know what I mean? So it's just like that whole thing. But it's just kind of weird because it's like sometimes I think about it, I'm like, am I just crazy, or what is going on here? Like, is there something going on in my brain? Am I like losing it? Am I going crazy? Like, why am I going through this where like it takes me forever just to do this one simple application thing, or whatever? But there is a lot of hoops that they like to get you to go through, and there's also a lot of stuff that is affecting me now more than ever. So that's why I end up getting sidetracked by those things, and then the other shit doesn't get done. So anyway, but yeah, but to have a healthy mind where you're not so hard on yourself of trying to get 1,000 things done, where maybe all you have to do is that for that day, and then you could chill. To have that mindset is better, I think, because even though you might not get all this renovation stuff done, at least you're covered for like your job or whatever you got, whatever your career is. So because this stuff can always be done. Everything can always be done. But anyway, yeah, I just thought that was kind of funny. But I think that also translates into conversations too, because maybe you may not be focused on trying to have closure in the things that you say to people. Like I might be talking to some person, and we might be talking in conversation, but then because I don't have that dopamine like release that's constantly being flowing, I think what happens is that maybe halfway through the conversation, I don't get all my thoughts out, and then I kind of just stop, and we don't really talk more about what we just said. We just stop the conversation, and it's just very awkward. So, I mean, I'll go on and on about other things too, but it's the closure that's the problem, So, yeah, I think that's kind of interesting because I never really had this issue before, but there was a time where I just was bad conversationalist in general. So, I mean, but that was way back in the day, but this is a little different. So yeah, it's kind of interesting, but I saw Mark's videos lately, and I think it's pretty good that he's, taking it more seriously. From Mark's Epic Weight Loss, taking all the nutritional stuff more seriously, being more mindful of what truly has to be done for what you put in your body or how you prepare food and stuff like that. And like I'm not perfect at all. I mean, I need to work on what I got to do. So for example, I'm still using Teflon pans, and I don't even know what else I need to use. I don't even know what the consequences are of that. Like, I don't know how much money I would have to put into it or whatever, but probably not that much. But he's yeah, it seems like he's doing the right thing, and I was basically trying to tell him that the whole carnivore thing is, I can see that it gets boring after a while, because I mean I get it, where all you're eating is meat. But I was trying to tell him that you basically have to do boring things if you want to accomplish anything serious, and that's a serious thing to lose. Like, he wants to lose 60 pounds, I think. Get down to 240 or 250 by the end of the year. And I mean, the first 50 was pretty good. I mean, I think he did take it somewhat pretty seriously, but I think there was some kind of luck involved. I hate to say it, but maybe there might have been. In some ways, there might have been. From a certain angle, there might have been luck. But yeah, I think that it's just a boring thing. So like, I think I might be at like 18% body fat. If I wanted to get down to like 8%, yeah, I would have to do something similar to that. But I don't really feel like doing that. So I'm still having a little bit of fun. I'm putting butter in everything. I'm putting a lot of fat in things. I drink the heavy cream straight, like, I guess I'll do it right now. I got this Trader Joe's heavy cream, which is pretty good, I think. I got Clover one too. I think these are the best brands to get for heavy cream, because the other heavy creams, so they're organic heavy whipping cream from Trader Joe's, and the Clover, Sonoma, pasture raised. Because the other ones might have carrageenan, which is like what you find in the Starbucks egg bites, which is supposed to be carcinogenic. But this is sometimes I just go ahead and go in there, and you're like, oh, you're gonna get fat. Well, actually, no, not really. It's just I'm just not gonna lose weight, and I just do. I take a bit of a sip of that. Almost no insulin spike doing that, so you're pretty good. And I haven't been fasting at all, so it is what it is. I mean, I don't really feel like I need to, but I might end up doing it soon. I mean, you're supposed to, like, I wanted to do a 3-day fast every month, but I don't know. I think that it's not as important to me to fast anymore, because I'm doing what I think was right to make modifications to avoid gaining a lot of weight. For example, I don't go to In-N-Out anymore. Like, maybe once every other month, maybe once a month. I don't know, something like that. But back in June or something, or some other time, I was just casually getting those quad burgers, and it's not a bad deal. It's not a bad thing, but you have to understand what you're eating. So, for example, most likely the cheese is still good, but all that stuff they probably don't source it from the best meats. So you're probably eating some grainy stuff that can actually induce insulin spikes. Even if it's not directly from the fat or the meat or the protein. I mean, but it could be coming from the meat. So there's that, and then there's just also like other things that can get into you that can stay there, that making it easier for fat storage to be sustained. So whereas if you have meat from like that's 100% grass fed, grass finished, and it's all properly sourced and stuff like what I'm about to make, and you have cheese like goat cheese, A2 A2 cheese and all that, and it's like water buffalo or whatever, and it's like sourced properly, um, which you can tell from what you get from the store, then you can be pretty sure you're not going to have any hiccups in whatever your body's gonna experience. So I I don't feel like I need to fast anymore because there's no like I don't feel like I'm causing a lot of toxicity to my body because I'm not eating in that random fashion anymore. I'm really careful. Even after today, was it yesterday? Actually, I almost went to In-N-Out, but see, it was so late. Oh, okay, so last night I was actually, for the first time, like I said, I was like going out more, because I'm done with all this stuff. So now I feel better about being out there and socializing. Um, Kind of like mentally squared away. Yesterday I actually went out and I thought I was just gonna, I said, just spend no more than an hour, and I didn't because I just felt like that hour wasn't used at all. I was just like, I'm just sitting here. So I went into this bar. It's called Track 8, and I was like, because I've been wanting to check it out for the longest time, and it's got some jazz themed art and stuff like that. There's the David Bowie, like a hollow, stick light. It's like a stick light that you hang to the wall. It's got like an outline of David Bowie from Aladdin Sane. What would you call that? It's like laser lights or something. It's like a incandescent light where, yeah, I mean, maybe in the comments you would know what it is, but where basically like some signs have they have these incandescent strips that form the letter of the sign or whatever, or the word of the sign, whatever you're interested in going to. It'll say something like Spankies, right? Spankies, and then it's formed from all those tubes, like a bunch of incandescent tubes or whatever they are. So I saw that in the bar I saw that at the bar from another, like a Instagram post or something. And I really wanted to check it out because it was also a sister bar to another one that I'm familiar with, who I know a bartender there. He came over and helped me with my renovation once. So I was like, okay, well, this is gonna be cool, but it wasn't all that. I mean, it was actually a lot smaller than I thought. They were playing Power Rangers from 1983, like a Japanese version, and it was pretty chill. I met this guy. He claims to be a raver. Is like, like where he's dancing like crazy at these EDC places or something. And I was like, holy shit, I don't even recognize you there. He almost looked like a transsexual, but he just wore a bunch of like makeup here, and then he had like these bracelets that went all along his two, both of his arms, almost like halfway through. And I thought that was pretty cool, but I don't know if I would ever do that. I mean, I just like, you're spending like a whole day doing that, and I don't know. I don't know. I guess I would have to be really on something to want to enjoy that. But anyway, but yeah, the vibe was all right. But I was like, man, I'm not about to leave this place just sitting here like some guy. What was it, like a sitting duck or something? I'm like, I'm going somewhere else. And I was like, okay, I'll just go to the place that he recommended. He recommended this place called Pacha House. And I didn't know it was like an Oriental Asian kind of bar. And I went there, and then, it was like, I just kind of like did the same thing. I sat down because now I just want to have like a chill vibe. I'm not trying to go, make myself a fool, anymore. So like, I'm not trying to like go from one person to the next and just kind of like popping my head in and saying something stupid, I just kind of want to chill and then give my thoughts. That's kind of how I am. I guess that's not the way to be social, but I guess that's my way. Anyway, so yeah, we do that, and because I'm not trying to be like a joy killer. What do they call it? Joy, whatever it is, joy killer, or whatever. but it is what it is, you know. So I just like to chill and get my thoughts pretty much. So we go to that place, and then I met these cool, like, they were, one of them was having a birthday, these cool black chicks, and she was just like, like, we were kind of dancing, and she's just like, oh shit, you're cool, and then I got them a few drinks, not because they asked me, but because I wanted to, because I wanted to have fun with them, and they were vibing with me, so I was like, okay, let's do it. So then we meet up with that same guy. Somehow he came later because I thought he was going to be there. And so basically at the end of the day, I was gone by 2 a.m. and that's how it is when you go out at night, I guess, sometimes. But I didn't expect to cave into that, but it is what it is. I mean, I didn't expect track 8 to be such a, it just wasn't the vibe I was expecting. But track 8, I mean, it was still all right, but it was like I was just basically a sitting duck the whole time. The other places were better, I think. But yeah, I'm not planning on going out tonight. I'm still gonna take care of business with all this stuff. I gotta take stuff to the storage unit still, and there's still quite a bit to do before I find a tenant. And it's funny because when I got into the accident, there was actually a lot of supportive people. There were people that saying, hey, I could be your witness. Like, here's my number. So I got their number. And then at first, the insurance company wasn't willing to help me with this. They said, this doesn't look good. You turned left, so you're the one at fault. But actually, I have the witnesses, so who did see that it was a green light. So that's a protected green. So they pretty much said, the AAA, maybe they were just trying to calm my nerves down, but they said you're pretty much good to go. But they haven't seen the police report, so who knows? I mean, I don't know. But the amount of damage seems like it's repairable, but who knows? I still don't know if it is or not. So that's another thing that's going to be a pain in the ass, because I don't want to buy a car. I don't want to go through that process of buying a new car. It's like, because I felt like the situation I have right now is perfect. It's like I'm just paying my insurance, paying my monthly payments on my car, $298 a month on the car payment. Ain't a big deal. It's just that's all it is. Everything is working fine. The Carfax were good for the 2018 Kia Rio. I'm like, everything is working just fine. Why should I rock the boat with this situation? And it's been 2.5 years. So I really like that situation. That situation was working perfectly for me. So, it's just like, I just hate that this happened. I was up all night thinking about it because I was like, because I just felt bad and I thought maybe it was my fault. I was like, is it my fault or not? No. It can't possibly be. I mean, I'm not that distracted. I'm never that distracted, but yeah, if anybody wants to wish me luck, please. I really hope this works out. And I am not injured. I have one bruise on my chest right here, and I felt kind of like weird in one of my fingers. So there was a couple that actually came over my place and said, "Hey, let me just stitch that up for you or something." They found some tape or something, and it was pretty good. I mean, it healed very much overnight. I don't really feel that bad anymore on that. So people were recommending I go to the urgent care, but I just don't feel like I have anything going on. And the guy thought I had a concussion, but really I just had extreme confusion because everything happened just so suddenly. And I don't know, those things that shock you can leave you confused psychologically for quite a bit. So I was pretty much like in the state of confusion for a whole day with all this cortisol and stuff because of that accident, right? But it's kind of interesting because that was not the stress related to that was similar to the stress related to the plumbing that I did, but I would say that the plumbing was actually less manageable. That I would say that was probably more difficult to handle because you couldn't just call an insurance company or whatever to take care of it. Like I tried to call the city and they were like, no, we can't do it. And I got lucky that I found a plumber that was willing to do it for a cheap price. So well, I ended up trying, and then he fixed one error and stuff. It's just like that. But yeah. Anyway, 2025 is gonna be a interesting year. I think what I really want to do is just get back to the career stuff. I mean, I just have to get back into it, because that was what was mostly important to me. That was everything to me, like prior to buying this house or whatever, and getting swallowed up by 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 real life stuff, I guess you could say. So even though that is real life stuff too, but yeah, I really have to, like, I just have to get back into the zone, and just say, and just like get that dopamine hits, that the system going again, and just, yeah, I mean, hopefully I could get those additional licenses, and then work back on my maglev project, which I was creating a theory of maglev structures, which has to do with like which is basically a statistical mechanics of a structure, an idealized structure floating, that can be supported by a discrete number of magnets, without with basically considering the fact that certain laws of electromagnetism have been violated, and a lot of people don't want that to be violated. Like, there's something called it's been a long time, but there's a law where it says that basically where you could show mathematically that there's no way it's stable, that a situation like that is stable. But stability is, which is supposed to be my forte, is subjective in the sense of potential energy. So if you show that the potential energy is in a certain direction and the curve is a certain way, you can say that it's stable or unstable. But that does not consider the effect of changing motions. So if you assume that the curve is one way, it may actually be not just that way that you think. It could actually be a cubic function or a series of cubic functions, whereas in reality our assumptions make us think that it's quadratic pretty much. So with that in mind, you could pretty much show that it's stable, but in a statistical mechanical way. So because then it would have to be, like, everything kind of shifts over and over again, and so you're pretty much, the structure is within a area, and there's a probability distribution within that area. So that's what I was thinking about, and I wrote down on this big paper, and I was trying to analogize it to a certain type of structural issue, situation, where you have different changing mechanics. So you might start with a bending, and then it becomes a truss, right? And so in those cases, you would say if it can reach if a beam can reach its bending capacity, then it's unstable. But past a certain point, it's actually straightens out and becomes stable. So you get what I'm saying? So the curve is not completely quadratic. It doesn't just taper down. It kind of straightens out. So I started writing about this about 3 or 4 years ago, or 2 or 3 years ago, and I wrote these like differential equations, integrals and stuff, and I have this like 10-page document showing it. So I want to get back into that, because that was something that was important to me, and I wanted to see where that would be headed. And I know it seems like, okay, well, what's the point in that? Well, it has drastic implications, because if you were able to um, pretty much show that this works, it's gonna like it's an architectural achievement. You know, like if you read, was it the structures or why buildings stand up by Mario Salvadori? There's one of the last pages is what are the symbiotic messages that are going to be sent by electromagnetic floating ceiling or something like that, and it's kind of interesting, but it's like it was a futuristic discussion. But yeah, anyways, thanks for watching. I really love like putting things together and seeing how things work and stuff like that. It's just pretty cool. I just, for me, it's like I just don't like seeing that. I like to see a result. I don't really like doing a theoretical thing like, oh, I'm putting these two things together and it produces this thing, but you don't actually see anything happen. That's the thing I don't like. And so a lot of electrical engineering is like that, and so I never got into that. Like I was shit when it came to that stuff too, because like when we had like breadboards and stuff for one of my classes when I took it in community college about, I think at this point it's been 11 years ago. I was like the worst at actually like handling it. I could not intuitively understand how it was put together, and then I was like, wait, what do these signals mean? Like, what are we actually measuring? Whenever I would like look at the oscilloscope and I would see these curves, I'm like, I don't really know what I'm 100% what I'm looking at. If it's a square wave, I know that has something to do with like a Taylor series or something from Calculus 2, but how does that, like, I wasn't able to understand what we were looking at because it wasn't an actual result, like, you know, architecture or something, or you put this thing together and it's this massive thing, you know. So like this countertop, boom, it's there, you know, but the details of how it's done, you know, I was super motivated to figure out how that worked, and now it's there. So you see what I'm saying, right? So it's like I didn't have that same motivation for electronics, and which is kind of interesting because it's like I know that that's the future of things, right? And for the longest time, I wasn't like that for nutrition, but I guess I am now, you could say. Anyway, thanks for watching.